Hello and welcome to another episode of the Response on Play podcast. We're here in Texas Roadhouse. I don't know how I got behind the bar, but it's time to serve some fresh glasses of milk. I am Andrew, and I am joined by
Steph with a smiley face, not a big fan of milk.
Jake with a concerned face. Andrew, you can't be certified.
Brian with a happy face. Milk's great.
And James with a regular face, but I ordered my burger like 20 minutes ago.
Well, and you see, that's not my problem. Anyway, so as we all know, US Nats just wrapped up, and we're just going to be talking about our experience. Steph, what was your experience like for this year's Nats?
In the meta sense, I had a really great time overall. I had a lot of fun. It was fun making content with everybody, hanging out with my friends. I love doing that. Being in Texas was fine, I guess. I found some cool stuff to do outside of the venue. I guess what I'm getting at is I didn't do very well at Nats, if you couldn't tell.
It's okay. I didn't either.
Yeah, it was. I don't remember what my score was. It was pretty bad. I won like maybe 2 or 3, probably only 2. I took Godzilla and I didn't do a lot of practice with him. And the other issue I had, which I think the other Godzillas also had this issue, because there were no Godzillas in top 16, is everybody was expecting Godzilla. So everybody teched against him. Every time I played a City Rampage, somebody played Koenma's Task. Everybody knew what I was doing. Everybody who could run that card that let them keep a foundation after I destroy foundations had it. It was just everybody knew Godzilla was going to be there and everybody was expecting it. And so everybody had the answers. And it felt like they had all practiced against Godzilla. So I just really struggled. But the people I played against were really cool. I had 2 of the best games that I've had in any tournament setting, and I lost both of them. But it was just a great time. I had a great time talking with my opponent and joking around and just kind of having fun. By the end of the day, I was having a lot of fun because I knew I wasn't going anywhere on the ranking. So I was I'm just gonna do whatever and just play goofy.
Yeah, you were just having fun with it since you were I'm not gonna make it to the top half, so screw it, I'll just have some fun.
Yeah, and so
Totally.
I actually had a really good takeaway from this. It was a learning experience and figuring out kind of what I want my relationship with competitive play to be. And the first part of this learning experience was I did have a bad experience with a player. So someone was really rude to me. This actually happened in Vegas too. 2 of the 3 tournaments I played in, I had kind of a shitty opponent. So, it was a situation where they lost a game, and then as soon as they lost the game, they got mad and kind of turned that outwards. So, it cost you nothing to not take this game so seriously. But that, combined with the fact that I had a great time even when I was losing with nice opponents, it's I don't know, it's kind of made me think that, I should focus less on, trying to be hyper competitive and just kind of go into these expecting to lose, but also, playing something fun. I really only brought Godzilla because I couldn't think of anything else, and I like Godzilla a lot, but I was, not super into, practicing him. Yeah, I don't know. I think, for Denver, when I get ready for that, I think I'm just gonna pick a character that I really like and just kind of practice with him, and even if he sucks, I'm just gonna go have fun,
No, I respect that.
Spoilers? Response on Play in Denver?
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, also
Not a spoiler.
Also spoilers, if you're rude to your opponent, they're gonna have a bad time. But I will say, if you played me in Nats and you think it was you, it probably wasn't. Because I don't think this is the type of person to have critical self-examination, So they wouldn't have known it anyway.
This guy isn't the kind of guy that listens to our podcast.
No.
So you guys are safe.
Only cool, nice people listen to our podcast. But
As
yeah,
far
I
as we
mean,
know.
So it was a man, though. Really narrows it down.
Yeah,
Really
right.
narrows it
Yeah,
down.
true.
Turns out it was me.
I believe
Well,
that.
we do have proof of you not liking the Godzilla matchup.
Yeah,
It's true.
This is
It's
Jake
true.
in a costume.
It's Jake the costume.
But
No,
I mean, I didn't want to. I went back and forth on whether I even wanted to bring this up or not. But at the end, I was like, maybe I should, because I heard about someone else having the same experience as I did in another tournament, and it was another girl. Someone made them cry. And I was like, God, that sucks. You know, like I'll be the first to say that I'm a little sensitive, you know, so like anyone kind of raising their voice at me or being very firm, like I'll get upset. But at the same time, it's like it sucks to have that in the community, you know, and like I've had
Agreed.
really great experiences otherwise, but it's like just these 2 times really sucked, you know, and it sucks to hear that other people are experiencing that. And it's like, if you're finding yourself getting mad enough from losing a game that you take it out on your opponent, like you gotta step back, man. Like you gotta take that somewhere else because it's not cool.
That's fair.
Agreed.
But otherwise, I had a great time. Even though I lost really hard, it was really fun.
Right on, right on. Jake, what about you? What was your Nats experience like?
Don't know. Didn't go.
I see.
Oh
That
wait.
tracks.
Anyway,
Next.
my Nats experience is pretty good. I got to be the jerk being mean to somebody instead of getting somebody mean to me. Actually, not really. Most times, if I'm not even if I'm losing, because like I can lose and still be fine. Like I got smacked by a Shichiwaka bar, and I was just like, "Wow, that guy got me." And then I like gushed about how sick his list was.
Oh yeah. You were
And,
telling
like,
me about that list, and I was like, "Oh, that's so sick."
yeah, so like a lot of
Yeah.
times if I lose, it's not really like unless it's to like somebody that's bad like James, I usually don't get mad. But like I am an outward crier. So like or like I like to make everything a joke. So like if I'm getting like annoyed or whatever, I try to be funny. Whether whether people think I'm funny or not when I'm doing it, to be seen. But I did play a Bertolt 2 round 2 after losing to Godzilla from my own mistakes. I played Hawks for the weekend, and I did not do as good as the one that topped. Surprise, surprise. I forgot to pick up feathers like several times. Game 1, I'm like going through thinking like mental gymnastics type stuff, and I forget to pick up feathers. Unfortunate. Opponent super nice, no problems. I pretty much like I won game 1 pretty heavy handedly. Game 2 he won pretty heavy handedly. I used Showdown to cancel Citywide Rampage and kind of stop his turns. He actually complimented me on like shutting down Citywide Rampage and kind of like stalling his turns for a little bit. And then game 3, I got in a do or die situation, forgot to pick up feathers, and so I just died. Game 2, I played against Bert. I cried the entire game. And, like it got to a point where like almost every time on one of the games, I literally was like, "Yeah, fair and balanced." Every time my opponent played an attack, because I do not like that character. It's not fun, and I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I like that character, and I'm just gonna cry about it. I know it's probably not the classiest thing to do when you're sitting at a table, but you know, try to make jokes, try to make it light because I'm incredibly frustrated. And I'm not trying to be mean to my opponent. And I'm talking to my opponent. We're talking back and forth about like, can't believe he hadn't been touched before the event. He's very obviously a little overtuned. I lost game 1, and then in game 2, I almost killed him. I did more damage than I should have been able to do more damage than needed. And because even with no cards in hand, he got to just sit there and go, "Oh hey, minus damage. Oh hey, minus damage. Oh hey, minus damage." No cards in hand. So he lived with 2 HP. And then he just flipped and killed me. And I was just like, "Okay, cool. That feels good."
Yeah.
I complained. I even admitted while I was at the table, I was like, "Sorry, I'm crying. I'm gonna go cry somewhere else." But I wish my opponent the best. He seemed like a cool guy. If I ever put somebody off with my whining, let me know. I try to be cordial, but I am a when faced with pressure or stress, I try to be funny.
Yeah.
Um,
I do want to say like nothing wrong with like getting upset about losing or like being expressive about that. It's like the people that I'm referring to were aggressive about it. And
Are
that's
taking it out on someone
there's a
else.
big difference, yeah, between like you're kind of just like expressing how you're feeling or you're getting frustrated at yourself and like putting that on your opponent and being aggressive towards your opponent, which is not okay. So definitely not what you were doing at all. I'm guessing. I don't know. I wasn't there. You could have been like beating the shit out of your opponent. And
I
On a
got-
side
could've.
note, Jake,
Yeah.
could you whine less? Actually,
No. I'm gonna keep whining and I'm gonna keep trying to be funny.
You
while...
just said if you're putting anybody out with it for them to tell you, and I told
yeah, I
you.
don't care about you telling me though. This is for the people I care about, the people that listen to the podcast.
My
I don't know.
faithful listeners.
I just like to have fun, and like yes, I do want to like try to play seriously, and whereas like Steph is having fun like just kind of playing and doing stuff, I also just have fun playing and
Doing stuff.
and stuff. Even if I'm not winning per se. But does that mean I want to win? I don't want to win? No, and I'm not saying that means Steph doesn't want to win, but like you're put in these situations like Bertu is not fair. Like the way they just kneecapped him, spoilers coming up, like they dealt with him for a reason. He is not fair to play against. It never feels good to play into him. Like I played against Godzilla. Godzilla, very strong deck. People were contemplating like saying, maybe Godzilla needs to get hit. Godzilla, I at least got to play the flipping game.
Yeah.
And I got irritated in that game, but I got mad at myself. And I didn't take it out on my opponent, obviously, but like playing against Bertolt, I just go, yeah, man, you just played flipping 10 attacks on me. That's fair. That's definitely fair. After blocking for 2 full turns after he flipped, and I just didn't see the attack, so I got a little unlucky. But it doesn't matter because he just gets to go, I'm just gonna play 9,000 attacks and keep going. So it's just like there's no slowing it down, no stopping it, no whatever. And like getting to reduce the damage on the front side. So like I had a lethal turn before I got to flip, did exactly what I was supposed to do into that matchup, and then got punished for it, even though he had no cards in hand. So like that card, not fair. And I'm gonna whine about it. And then I played a sick Devil Gin list. I do want to shout this list out for sure. It was hilarious. I played Hawks and put my Hawks feather down, and he goes, "Oh hey, I play those too." And I was like, "What?" And he just like, we're going back and forth, and then he hits me for like half my health in a turn, and I was like, "Wait, what?"
It's great with Nats, especially. You just see all the like everyone goes into it expecting like the boogeymen, but then you sit across like Devil Gin. It's like, okay, I was not ready for this. Let me see what you got.
Well, I played the boogeyman round 1 and 2, and then round 3, like I said, I played Devil Gin. I think it was round 3. I may be getting that one mixed up with another one, but I played a Devil Gin list, and not only was my opponent super cool, he was a young lad, and like not like young. I would say probably like a little bit older than like maybe 14, 15, maybe a tiny bit older. I'm not sure. Not sure his age. But his dad came over and talked about, and I think they were both playing Devil Gin, and I had a good time talking to both of them. Super rad people, super sick Devil Gin list. I will be looking at that list and trying to mess with it a little bit. That list is so funny, and it was pretty cool. And I was glad to play against an opponent that was like enjoyable to play. Not that most of my opponents aren't, but like it was like such an unserious game, and I love playing those. They're always fun. And then I played Shishi against a Shishi that he played Rise to Battle as his last attack in our game 3.
Ascend to Battle.
Sorry, Ascend to Battle in our game 3, and I didn't recall seeing it at any point in our other 2 games. And he was just like, I'm sitting here doing mental math, and I'm like, okay, cool. He's played 2 Walk the Dogs. Might have another one. I flipped this one. I'm still at like a bunch of health. And there's no way another Walk the Dog kills me. And then I get to play, and then I kill this man. And then, so this is like his 3rd or 4th attack in the card pool. And I'm like, okay. And he goes Shishi form. And I was like, okay. And then he puts down Ascend to Battle. And I go, what does that card do? Yeah, my health bar is the answer.
Yeah, so
gets damage equal to printed speeds.
Printed speed of all attacks in the pool.
Each attack in the card pool.
Counting itself.
So yeah, it just did a lot, and I had played out the last one because like the last one was like really big, so I was like, well, I want to make sure that he can't kill me, so I'd like already used my flip and I had already blocked, and I was like basically out of resources because he had played like 4 attacks, and this is like his 5th attack, and I was like, okay, he's playing another one, and then he played it, and I was like, okay, and then I read it, and I was like, well.
enough.
We're in trouble. Uh,
We are, in fact, in danger.
so
We ain't getting out of this one, boys.
yeah, so I lost that one. Sick list.
Yeah,
Cool dude to play against.
she's such a cool character.
I'm glad to see stuff like that. What else did I play against? Because I went 1-4-1, and then I dropped. So that was my day one. I think she capped off my day one. Oh, and then I played a Toga 3, and on the Toga 3 I drew. We went to time, and we just didn't have a way to kill each other. Like I think I won game 1, he won game 2. I kind of disrespected the list a little bit, thought I could like do more with less, and it just didn't come together. And he pushed me really hard, killed me game 2. Game 3, we went with like 5 minutes. He played a bunch of attacks, but I play a very defensive Hawks, so we just drew. Super cool guy. Also fun to play against. And then my last opponent, I played against Reiner 2, the mill one.
Yeah,
And my opponent, fun guy. It was a really interesting game, to say the least. At least my opponent was fun to talk to, because we played a 60-minute game 1. And I was kind of put in this situation where I either sit here and try to draw this man at 60 minutes, or I lose. And it came down to literal last card in his deck to like what he checks to like play his last attack to try to kill me. Counts every single card, goes through his entire deck, and he's like, I don't know. He's like, I need a 6. I play 6s. I'm not sure. And then he's like, you know what? We're gonna go for it. Flips it. Last card in his deck. It's a 6. He gets it. And sometimes that's just the way the game ends. Like,
true.
Sick.
Check gray to win.
Yeah, it's sick. And it was a funny game when he figured out that I was trying to stall him, or like that I was like trying to like deck him out. Like that's when it became like a really slow game. As soon as he like figured out what I was doing, because I wasn't seeing attack cards. And Reiner is like one of those where like you kind of have to kill him in one turn. Because if you don't, it just like he puts so much pressure on you.
Agreed.
So it was just one of those where I was like, I wasn't confident in my board setup, like to be able to kill him after a flip turn, because like if I were to play the proper list, I could play like a feather, play another attack, pick up the feather, but that's not the way my list works. To like get around the -5 damage. But I didn't have that, and I just wasn't seeing the attacks to be able to kill him on the couple of turns that I had where I thought I might be able to kill him. So I just ended up in a 60-minute game 1, and he clutched it literally in the last like in overtime on game in time. So kudos to him. I hope he had a good rest of his day. Sick player. What a long game.
Fair enough.
And then I'll stop rambling about my time at Nats here. I just want to say, like, thank you for everybody that like came up and like talked to us. There were a couple of people. It was really nice to hear that some people listen to us on the weekly. We appreciate it a lot. At least I do. And I really
appreciate it.
I really appreciate people letting me stick a microphone in their face and talk to me, because it was a blast. I had more fun interviewing players. Not that I didn't have fun playing, but I had a lot of fun doing the content thing, like talking to people, filming stuff, doing that type of stuff, because I'd never really do that kind of thing. You have never, and it's a different kind of thing. Like it was a lot of fun. And like getting to laugh with some of the, like with the top 8 and kind of like feel out like how they were feeling right after like their big games, and get to talk to them and stuff was a blast. So we will definitely continue doing that type of stuff in the future for sure.
For sure.
For sure.
You guys got recognized, right? Like people knew who you were playing against, or they recognized the podcast.
I think
I look pretty
Chuck,
distinctive.
I think Chuck did. I know Disaster Dan. Shout out to Disaster Dan.
Yeah, I saw you, Disaster Dan. You comment on like all of our videos. I was like, it's him.
It's him. He also said something to us while we were eating breakfast. Super awesome.
Shout outs.
Shout outs. Love Disaster Dan. But I think Andrew had somebody notice.
Yep.
Yeah, my like round 6 or 7 opponent recognized me as well.
Oh yeah, you're kind of the other guy.
Yeah.
I had a lot of people recognize me as me, and some people also knew that I did a podcast thing. But like I said, I look very distinctive. So
true.
It's that
I don't know
awesome
about that.
beard.
It's that dwarf aesthetic that I've been working for
It's
my
that,
whole life.
It's that aura, dude. Got it.
Oh yeah, I am him.
It's that Minecraft drip, honestly.
Minecraft drip.
Like nobody mines diamonds like Brian. You know what I'm saying?
Going into that, Brian, how was your Nats experience?
It was a lot of fun. I brought Night Eye, and every time I flipped it over, everyone was like, "Okay, I don't get it. What's the plan here?" And I'm like, "You'll see, you'll see." And then,
Pushes up glasses. You'll see.
and I'm like, "Trust me, there's some cool ideas here." And then they were just like, "Okay, I'm willing to feel it out."
I will say that list, playing against it so much myself, it is an annoying list.
And that's kind of the point.
Yeah.
But I played against a Burt round 1, and it came down to, hey, are there any attacks left in your deck? Because this one doesn't kill me. And then he was able to draw the last attack out of his 5 cards and play it. And so he was able to get that one. And then I played a Mimic in round 2. Unfortunately, shoutouts to Nolan, who was my round 2 opponent. I had been playing with him at Kawacon all the previous weekend, and he was playing Mimic to just get used to it, and all I had brought was my Night Eye list. So he knew what my gimmick and my plan was, and so he was like, all right, cool, I know what you're going to try and do to me. So he got that one in 3. I also played a Devil Jin list, and I won that in 1. Pretty much all my wins were in 1, but I don't know if he had a great time. I was having fun, but that's kind of the way that Night Eye list worked for everybody that I played against, was just like, you don't get to do that. Actually, no thank you. Actually, no thank you. There's a whole lot of explaining how sealed works.
Which I thought was funny.
Yeah, it's like, it felt like every single round I'd be like, cool, in window, I'll seal that block. Do you have any response that wasn't the breaker that was on it?
Or Showdown.
Yeah, I sealed the Showdown, sealed breaker 2s, sealed foundations that were sealed Keiko's aids. Like, I'm just like, no, none of that. You need to build another one, or you need a half block. Don't full block me if you want to use cool things. And they're like, but then I'll take damage. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of the design point.
Yep.
But yeah, deck was a lot of fun. I ended up going 4-2-2, or no, sorry, 3-2-2 when I dropped, and then we went and got lunch, which was good.
Yep.
Very, very tasty food.
Do like lunch.
Yeah, big fan. A lot of cool lists. I fought a Bakugo. That list was really cool. We ended up tying. I fought a Deku 6, whatever the newest one is, on the move.
Yeah, Dark Deku. Yep.
Dark Deku. I won that one, and that one was when they're just like, okay, I don't know what I'm supposed to do about this. I'm like, well, I don't know either at this point. I think I have all the answers at this time. The list was a lot of fun. It didn't go the distance. I did fine. I think I did second best out of everybody in our group, which was not great. Like, none of us did that good, unfortunately. A lot of us, I think, dropped by round 7.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then yeah, but it was a great time. I loved hanging out with the guys from Combat Power, hanging out with all the other people that were there, making content, just seeing hundreds of people who really like the thing I like to do.
Yeah, I didn't know
For
we
sure.
were doing named shoutouts. So I'm gonna name shout out my really fun rounds. I played against Mike V from MGLA, which was the team that had 6 of the 10 top cuts or something crazy like that. That
Yeah,
team was
They
nuts.
destroyed
They were
that
rolling.
event.
Mike was
Yeah.
so fun. He was playing Burt 2. I had a great time playing. I had a great time losing to Burt 2. It was so fun, and it was just so enjoyable to have an opponent that was being cool even when I took a game off of him. And then one of my last opponents was someone named Jason. I think Jason was a kid with their dad. I'm sorry, Jason, if you were not a kid with your dad. He was very young. But he had a great attitude too. I was just laughing the entire time. Like I was having a great time with these people. Lost that one too, but like you guys made the tournament great for me. So really enjoyed my games with you guys. I didn't check to see if Mike made it to top 32. I know he was going for top 16, but I didn't see him in there. But hopefully he made it top 32. So we'll see. And then I also played a bunch of other really nice people, but I'm sorry I don't remember your names.
So you played against what's his name? Was it Keith? Is that his name?
Keith?
Was that it? From you said you played him in Atlanta too, right?
Oh yes, how could I forget Keith? Yeah, the guy that was like champion. He has like a champion card made of him. He had like gesture everything. And he had like retooled his gesture a little bit, and she was like really sick. We tied. He almost got it, but we ended up tying. Now, that was really fun. I hope to eventually play some in-persons with Keith, because I think I'm gonna be in an area where he plays in-persons. I'm not gonna dox anybody, but we might be in the same geographic area sometime soon. So yeah, it was great.
Somewhere in the same time zone.
Yeah, I mean,
possibly within driving distance of each other.
I mean, I had one negative experience, but like everybody else was so nice, and it was so fun playing with all these people.
Not us. We weren't nice to her.
I'm sorry, I almost forgot you, Keith. I played against Keith in like Atlanta, and I had a ton of fun.
That's good. That's good to hear.
He had the same gesture deck. I was like, I know this deck.
Why is this familiar?
Yeah. I mean, it was slightly different, but I knew what it did. And it's funny, I had in my sideboard cards that I had brought, and like I was not gonna bring. So it was assessing AFO's motive, and I brought that to Atlanta because I was like, well, there might be a lot of like momentum hate, and I was running at the time like the Chaos list that had like the Tokiyami card and like all the other stuff where it makes you care about momentum. And so in Atlanta, I brought it because I was like, people are gonna run momentum hate, and I didn't really see it in Atlanta except for like it had like a funny interaction with Jester because she makes you spend a momentum and then both of you get a momentum. So I would flip it and then I would just get free momentum from it, or I would cancel it or whatever it was. So I was gonna take that out of my sideboard, but I was like, wouldn't it be funny if I saw this deck? And so I just ended up leaving it in there, and I saw him and I actually cited it in and I got to use it. So it was really funny that I was like, I guess I'll keep this on the off chance I play Keith again. And then I did.
Let's go. I mean, yeah, it sounds like a lot of us have been having fun. But of course, can't forget about our newest captain, James. First of all, congratulations for being the best out of the five of us at US Nats.
So we do this fun thing because we're super serious about the card game and we're major Mondo competitive people. Our team captain is based on whoever did the best at the last event. At least 3 or more of us attended. So as long as the majority of the team goes out to an event, whoever tops, or not tops, but like does the best, gets to be the new captain. So like we're like constantly fighting for the captain spot. For funsies, I guess.
I mean, basically, it's for funsies.
Pretty
so
much.
James placed best out of us at Nat, so he's our new captain.
Yep.
Hell yeah!
Congrats, James.
Thank you.
And Brian did the second best, so he's the vice captain, co-captain, assistant to the captain, whatever.
Just like last time.
As he will always be.
And
I love being second fiddle, honestly.
I love the silver medal. But James, how was your Nats experience?
Nats was a lot of fun. I had a great time seeing everybody, meeting all of the people that we got to talk to. Was a great time. The tournament itself, like we've kind of stated, didn't go amazing. I got a little unlucky. I feel like I think I did end up taking Ochako 4 on water. I feel like the list was very good.
Your list was sick.
Yeah, I think the list is super cool. It's definitely one I'm going to tool around with. It's really not losing that much when rotation comes. So it's definitely something I'm going to continue looking at. I just had a few times where it just didn't work exactly the way I wanted it to, and lost some games. There's a couple I just got outplayed. First one was, I mean, just in my first round, played against a Mimic that ended up getting top 16, and just played better. Like, he just had it every time he went to go in. Turn 2, turn 3, swung 40 damage, and I died. Like, it's just that simple. Yeah, it's just like, it wasn't really much like to
be
do.
fair, to
Like
your
that's just
Atragalist,
limit.
it does not have a lot of playing defense.
It does not. It tries to kill you, and hope it can't kill you back. And
Its
maybe it could.
defense is your opponent not being able to swing back.
Exactly. You can't
Yeah,
kill me
it's-
if you're dead already.
Is please don't do 28.
Yeah.
But so that was round one. I lost round two as well. So great start of the tournament. I played against the Zeke Jaeger. Ended up losing one of the games that I was set up to win. I checked a 3, and then on his block, he checked a 6.
Ooh.
Either one of those doesn't happen. I get to give it. If I don't check a 3, I get to give it enough speed that he can't block it. If he doesn't check a 6, he dies. But he ended up taking it, and there was a point where there's the 3 diff backup that says basically it's -3 speed or -3 damage. Excuse me. It's not flash, but a backup, and he had 4 of them on stage, and I was like, I don't know how I'm supposed to kill you through this, and just ended up losing. So very cool list. I've looked at Zeke myself. I just couldn't fight through it. It was something that I wasn't necessarily prepared for, and probably should have played the matchup a little bit differently. Maybe try to focus some of those backups, but I just didn't do it. Round 3, I played against a Mimic. Had a pretty good turn that won me the game, where they had double decoy duplicate and cape, and I managed to have Kraken and a Dr. Ichigaki. So they tried to cape, or I first enhance, tap the cape. They tried to decoy. I cancel it with Ichigaki and then tap the other one, and then I get to play my turn. And so that was pretty cool. Round 4, I won, played against a pony. Really just a big slap fest. He won game 1, I won game 2. We go into game 3, and we just kind of builded each other for a couple turns. We just can't find it. And I sided in Heroes Uprising. And so he starts to go for his attack turn. On his third attack, Heroes Uprising. And then because he can't clear with Pony, he just can't pass all the checks to kill me. I get him on the crackback. So good to see my sideboard card coming into use. Brought it for Bear 2, and then when I was siding, I was like, you know what? This might mess up Pony's turn too, so I'll bring it in, and turns out it did.
Right on.
Yeah, that card was goated. I played that so much over
It
the
is
last-
such a
that
good
was-
sideboard tech.
Yeah,
It was
it
in my
was
main.
super good.
I just
Oh,
knew
did you
I
actually
needed-
end up maining it?
Yeah, I had 3 in main,
Wow.
and I very rarely sided it out.
Yeah, it was
was
really
such
good.
a
I
good
didn't play
strategy.
against a ton of characters that I feel like it would have messed with, or at least not the way that we were playing the game, but Pony and Bertolt definitely were ones. That was day 1. We played 4 rounds. Day 2, I played against an Armin. I believe
Which
it's
one?
Armin 1, the set 1 Armin, the one that picks up, it builds, or can pick one up from its stage and build one down.
Yeah, the one that peaks and does all that
Yes,
stuff.
and it looks at the
Yeah,
top
that
of the
one's
deck.
cool.
It is very
Yeah,
cool.
very
I
neat.
thought I was cooked. First thing he does during that game, blocks with a showdown, builds it down with desperate plea, and picks it back up with his character.
Which is
And
so
I was just
sick.
like, you know what? I'm playing mono highs. I guess I just auto lose this. He did not see another desperate plea, thankfully. So I managed to just aggro him out. He got me game 1.
I gotta interrupt real
Uh,
quick. That sounds awesome.
It
I
does.
want to do that to somebody now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I
was
It's told me
very
this. I was
scary.
like, that's sick.
You
Yeah, it
deserve
was-
to be punished for your hubris. Don't play only one zone.
Terrifying.
It
That's
was
all my
so-
character does.
It was so cool. James told me this. I was like, Armin won? No way. And then he told me this. I was like, that's so freaking cool.
Yeah, it was a super cool list. He's playing he's playing like some stun package stuff and walk the dog, obviously. And
Yeah.
playing on the
Armin
order
1 was
symbol.
Armin 1 was a character I was one of the first characters I was looking at when AOT 1 was coming out. Never ever got around to like actually building him because I couldn't really crack the character, but I'm glad someone did.
Yeah, it was very cool. I enjoyed that match a lot. I definitely had to think. He definitely built an Ichigaki, and I forgot about it. And so that's what happened. Is losing game 1. He played walk the dog, and I was like, "There's no way he kills me. I've got more than 4 health, and I've got a jury in hand." And I go to jury, and he says Ichigaki. I'm like, "Guess I die."
Rip.
And then managed to turn it around for games 2 and 3. But round 6 was a Rodon. I'm sorry, Rodon. I have so much speed amp, and I have adapting the plan. I killed him on turn 2 both games.
Rough.
Feel bad. I'm sorry. Great opponent though. Round 7, played against Bertolt 2. Kind of what I built the deck for. I have the uprisings. I've got the aggro that I can kill him before he flips. I've got the stage manipulation to stop him from turboing out his foundations, and it mostly worked. He got me on game 1. I got game 2, and then we go to game 3, and I miss it by 1 health. Had I had drawn on my last attack, basically had I drawn 1 attack earlier, I would have grabbed a Falling Skies that would have won the game. Obviously, don't know that. You just got to play with what you've got. But I did lose the game by 1 health, which was a little unfortunate.
It's always it feels bad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that happened to me
but-
like 3 times too. Like I just kept not being able to kill it. Literally at 1 health. It's like, what the hell is going on?
Most of my games ended on. Most of my losses were okay. I need to check gray to block, or they need to check gray to play this card.
Mm-hmm.
And when it boils down to the last check, you're just kind of like, I've done everything I'm allowed to do. Let's just see what happens.
Really great opponent. Even though he was playing Bertolt 2, I can forgive that. Everybody wants to win. He said he'd listen to the podcast, so shout
So
you
obviously,
out. Thanks
he's
for
great.
listening.
Nice.
Right on.
Yeah, that was what I told my Bert 2 opponent. Sorry for interrupting. Is he was like, yeah, sorry, I'm playing Bert 2. And it's like, you don't gotta apologize, man. He's good. Why wouldn't you play him? Like, you want to win. I get it. Like,
yeah, that's the thing. It's like
I just couldn't force myself.
Everyone here, like everyone is like, yeah, Bert 2 is just really good. He didn't get touched before Nats, so why wouldn't you play him? He's just bonkers.
Yeah, I mean,
but I'm with Brian. Like I didn't want to play him because I don't like playing the character. I played him like for 1 set to help practice, and I was like, this character is not fun. I don't care that he's really good. This is not fun.
He
that's how I
is
felt.
not that fun. I would never not play a character who's really good just because the community agrees he's busted. Like, I don't have those scruples. Like, I'll play it if he's good and he's fun. But like,
Fun.
it was so sad that he was like,
that's the thing.
he was like, I'm sorry for playing Bird 2. So, you know, it's totally fine. Like, it's
yeah,
fun.
you want to win. We get it.
Yeah, I
if Bird
totally
2 had
understand.
felt more fun, I'd have built Bird 2. And I've been like, I don't care. Eat it, nerds.
Yeah, like shout
You
out
guys
now.
should have been better with him so he got banned earlier.
If a character is good and I like them and what they do, I'm flipping playing them.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I can't force myself to play Bird 2. As much as like I wanna go, I wanna win, wanna do stuff. I'm not gonna sacrifice the fun I'm having. Because like I had a lot of fun in a lot of my games playing Hawks. I'm a big Hawks enjoyer.
I also think Hawks is good.
I mean he top 8
Fox is good. Yeah.
just not mine.
You're like, yeah, that's because
Same symbol though.
Yeah,
I
same
did
symbol
not
too.
say you were good.
God!
Hawks is good.
But yeah, I agree. I think Hawks is very good. I think he's got the sauce. And I would say there's a top 8 player that also would agree.
Or at least one.
At least one. But yeah, like that's kind of the thing is like playing Bert 2. There's no reason not to. It's like my round 2 opponent was like, yeah, I figured they'd touch him before the event, and they didn't, so I'm playing it. I was like, yeah, man, I don't have any problems against you, but I hope Bert 2 dies in a fire. So
And we'll get to that.
but yeah, he's just not fun. Like he's not fun to play against. He's not fun to play.
Yeah, that's me and Recovery Girl. Again, we'll
Yeah.
get to that.
I love that I love that the one Recovery Girl player in tops that got second on the event was like, yeah, kneecap her. Like she's dumb. Like she needs to be hit.
Yeah.
I'm just like, agree.
Please take this from my hands. I never want to play this again.
Yeah.
Which also, congrats on his second place. He
Corey,
ran my
I
head
believe.
in.
Yep.
Yes, Corey. He ran my head in with that Recovery Girl list in Atlanta. So super cool dude to play against. I'm glad he topped. But I love his opinions. We did a little bit of his interview up on the channel. You should go watch it.
Yep.
Was there anything else you wanted to add, James?
Not really. So I mean, I had one more game. I think I was the only one that ended up playing to the 8th round. I played against Mineta 2 and built 1 foundation. So I just lost.
That's why you got
Yeah.
better than me. You didn't quit when I did.
Yeah,
I should have played one more round.
I should have too, damn.
I could have been the captain.
This is a
I could have
lesson.
sat on the throne.
This is a lesson for us, Brian. Never give
We
up.
have to play it out.
We
Never
have
give up.
to.
Never surrender.
You know what? All right, deal. We're playing all 9 rounds. We're
Oh.
playing all 9 rounds in Denver.
And that counts for you in
Please.
Worlds, Brian.
Oh
Whoa.
yeah,
Oh,
Brian's
yeah,
going to
we'll
Worlds.
talk about that later.
No, oh, I had a really good event. Love talking to everybody that we met. Everyone that said hi. Thank you for listening. Obviously, I
Now and
am
then.
really excited for what's going to happen in the next season.
Word. Same.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And-
It's been fun.
All right, and then Andrew, you haven't said how you did.
Because I don't want to talk about it.
Good.
Too bad. Talk about it
Next.
anyway.
Nope.
We're gonna
Next.
bully you into
Next.
talking about it.
Next.
I mean, my Nets experience was fun. I had a good time. I took Sasha, food fanatic. Took
Yeah,
Sasha.
second Sasha. Mhm.
Yeah, second Sasha. She was fun. I settled on playing her at the last minute because that's just a bad habit I have that I'm trying to break. Is just finding a character like a couple weeks before the event and then trying to cram as much testing as they possibly can before the event itself. I think my list could have taken me a bit further than it did. I ended up going 1-4 and dropping. And if I got a bit more practice in and actually stuck to my guns and like just picked a character beforehand, I probably could have done better. Round 1, I ended up playing against Mimic. Lost to Mimic in 2. Game 1, he just went nuts with building all sorts of assets. And my only asset answer I had was pass-through walls. Well, pass-through walls is not going to get me through freaking 9 assets. Like he had Battle Arena, he had triggers, he had soups, Knots Flask. Like he had it all. It was crazy. And game 2, I just couldn't find the attacks to try to kill him because he did check really bad on a Colossal Detonation, and I had a prime window to try to kill him. Couldn't find the attacks, couldn't get the damage. Game 2, in round 2, I ended up playing against an Edge Shot, which was I was not really expecting to see Edge Shot, but I was so stoked when I saw the deck in action. This wasn't Clinton Thomas. Congrats to Clinton Thomas. We also did an interview with him as well on the channel. But it wasn't Clinton Thomas. It was another Edge Shot player. Really chill dude. Like after the game, he beat me in 2. And both games, I was literally one turn away from being able to get the game. And he was just like, no, next turn, you die. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's fair. I mean, that's just what Edge Shot does. If he has the nuts, he can just kill you. But no, my opponent was super chill. And my round 1 opponent was also pretty nice, pretty chill as well. But the Edge Shot player, like after the game and everything, he showed me some retro builds and retro ideas. It was so cool to just talk retro with the guy. Super chill. Let's see, round 3, I played against Rodon. I ended up taking the game in 1, and game 2 ended in a tie because we were at time. I mean, my opponent again was pretty nice, pretty chill, cute little kid. Really liked playing Rodon and knew what he was doing too, with just how he was playing the deck. Really was playing to his outs. And then round 4, I actually played against Todoroki 4, which I wasn't really expecting either. And also watches the podcast. Shout outs to him. Greatly appreciate anyone who listens to the podcast. And he ended up taking it in 3, and it was just a classic. Game 1, his deck ran my head in. Game 2, my deck ran his head in. And then game 3, he sent it back my way. So it was just the classic freaking 1-2 punch.
Yeah, that's how it is sometimes.
And I mean, we just kind of sat there, chilled, talked about the podcast, talked about Exandria, how excited we are to kind of see it. So shout outs to him. And then that was day 1. Then day 2, I ended up playing into Godzilla for round 5. And I lost in 2. Game 1 was entirely my fault. Godzilla ended up forming and blowing up the stage and built his whole hand. He built 3 foundations. I went to my turn and I looked at my hand and how much momentum I had. I gambled because I was like, I think I can get there. I gambled on a 5, checked a 5, and he was checking. He was like reading cards. He was like checking his stage and everything. and I was off by like a couple bits of damage and could not kill him. And then he killed me on the next turn. And game 2, I didn't even get a chance. Like he's did more than half my health bar on his second or third turn, and then from then on, I was just constantly on the back foot. Like I could not swing at all until he eventually just killed me. Really chill dude. Just playing Godzilla. I mean, Godzilla's really good.
That's cool.
Yeah, I ended up dropping after that, but even with that, I still had a good time with Nats. Like Sasha was fun. All my opponents were very chill, very cool to play with. And overall, just a good experience. I did like that Nats was a two, like they were split. So you had some rounds on day 1, and then day 2 was the rest of the rounds. I very much liked that. Because it felt good after day 1 playing the rounds and then still having plenty of time left in the day to go like eat dinner or, you know, just go mess around. Right. So my Nats experience was a good one. Oh, I need a drink of water. Sheesh.
Yeah.
I know. I felt the same. I was like running out of breath while I was talking. I was like, this guy was mean to me.
I can't keep breathing. I don't know how to breathe while I talk.
I can't. No, I don't.
I mean, I
I'm not used to
can't. It's
talking
just,
like this.
but it's just talking a lot. My throat's dry.
You just do it. You just do it like you're singing, man. That's how you keep your breath.
Andrew,
control.
just breathe and post.
Just breathe and post. You're right. But that was pretty much like everyone's Nats experience. I think all of us had a fairly positive experience at the event overall.
Yes.
It was a lot of fun to also just film a bunch of content. We got a bunch of shorts, so we have interviews and stuff on the channel. So you guys should definitely go check those out. And we appreciate you guys watching and listening and all that cool stuff. Greatly appreciate you.
Which at this point, I don't think everything is up yet.
No, we
Everything
still
will be up probably within this next week.
hopefully. That's the hope. we still got a couple things to crank out. But with the discussion of Nats taken care of, we actually have one more thing to talk about, and that is the emergency ban in errata that was dropped. I think this was dropped about a day or 2 ago, I believe.
It was a day ago as a time of recording.
Yes.
It was yesterday.
So obviously UVS Games looked at the Nationals event and went, maybe there should be something done about this. And then they did. So I'm just going ahead and read from the article here. We'll have the article linked in the description if you want to check it out yourself, if you haven't already. But reading this here, our band and errata announcement will be posted in full next week on its usual schedule. However, due to the fact that many teams of players are meeting to prepare for Worlds, we're making the unorthodox decision to announce our changes to the community early, which big ups. I greatly appreciate having this amount of communication.
Same.
Before the event itself, which is Worlds. Like they could have just dropped this. I don't know, like a day before.
It would have dropped on Tuesday. It would have dropped in a couple of days or tomorrow as of time of recording.
Which Tam has mentioned the same thing, which again, shout outs to Tam Cardwell. And continuing on here. We had
hold on. Oh, you shouted out Tam, but like he doesn't listen to the podcast. So.
That's true.
Confirmed by him.
Confirmed by Tam.
But we're still gonna shout him out because he's still pretty nice.
Yeah.
True.
I get the vibe. Tam's a rad dude.
Anyway.
Continuing on here. Our full reasoning and explanations will be published on our usual cadence, the first Tuesday of February, and go into effect that following Monday. Thanks, and good luck to all of our World's competitors preparing for the big event. So they listed off a couple cards here. Well, we got 5 in total, and I'll be going from top to bottom. With the first one being, who we've talked about extensively in just this episode alone, Bertolt 2. Bertolt Hoover Living Weapon. So his old enhance is his old enhance, or his old words are his old words.
Or what they say.
Yeah. With the new ones, instead of having +2 or -2 damage, it is just +2 damage. So
actually,
he's still...
even worse. It's this attack gets +2.
Yes,
So don't do it on your opponent's turn. You'll just get yourself killed.
that's true. Yeah, so he still gets to draw 2, discard 2, and if the cards match, this attack gets 2 damage. So there's no more damage reduction with this. It's just 2 damage. If you want to give your opponent's attack 2 damage, I mean, go for it. It says this attack. And then on his response, instead of the condition being 9 or more foundations, a player has to have 11 or more foundations. So a player has to be built into deadlock in order for Bertolt to transform, which Bertolt's opponent is not going to go into deadlock. They're just going to sit and wait for Bertolt to do it. So your Bertolt's opponent gets a free turn to use all their deadlock words before Bertolt gets to pop it, before he gets to flip.
Okay, so let's all go around and say something nice about Bertolt 2 now.
He is going to be gone.
He's done, baby.
Yeah,
He's
there's
done.
no way this gets played anymore.
This man is dead as hell.
Yeah, this character, like Brian and I discussed after Nats, like we went out for dinner day 2, I think, and we
Yes,
were
it was on
discussing.
this.
Yeah, we were talking a lot about like ways you could balance Bert 2 and like still make him playable.
And I
they
said this would be too much.
they threw that out the window and said, shoot this man in both his ankles, and then after he suffered for a minute, put him out.
Take away his VME.
Yeah, they
Like,
really basically told the designers to go, hey, take him out back, show him what's what.
yeah, like if they're gonna do this hard to him, they should have errated him sooner. Like there's no way they thought all that was gonna be okay. And then after the several months of like him being live, being like, oh yeah, your time's up.
Honestly, part of what I think happened here is until the Nats, like the actual Nats portion, obviously there wasn't a lot going on. We had some webcam events, which were really cool. But like he wasn't really doing gangbuster numbers in that. And even in like the previous 2 Nats, there wasn't really that much. I mean, like they were showing up, obviously. People were playing Bert. But I think it was like with Mitchell going, Mitchell Chimino, shout out for his top 3, going, actually, I never want to flip. Flipping is the worst thing my character can do. I'll kill you anyway. I think they just went, oh, he's like not going to transform. He can just he can win a whole tournament without transforming, and he's a transforming character. They're supposed to win by transforming. So get rid of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like both sides is really crazy because like he puts you in that like if you are ahead, he gets to kill you out of random, and then if you're not ahead and you're playing on equal footing, his side 1 can do. Like I've died to side 1. Ask James. Like,
Well, that's what I'm saying is like I think they realized, oh, his front side is just strong enough to just win a whole tournament by itself. That means we made this side slightly too strong. So it also has to be nerfed outside of just the response. Because I think if that hadn't done us good a showing, it may have just been, hey, you have to go to deadlock the 1 turn.
yeah,
And not gotten
I
the
don't
minus damage
hate
too.
So maybe a hot take. I don't know. I don't hate the deadlock requirement. I personally thought that, especially with like their reasons for thematics and things like that, I thought all of the Titans should be deadlock characters. Like if you want to be a Titan, you go to deadlock.
Well, I
You
wanna
have
be
I
to-
don't know if I'd have done 11. I don't know if deadlock would have been the answer. I think 10 would have been the answer. Hey, we're fully built. If you want to go past it, you can go past it. But
Mhm.
we're now at the seminal number that you're allowed to feel safe at. Well, the Titans say you're never safe, right?
Yeah.
Like that would have been where I would have gone to.
I don't know if they require you to build into deadlock where there's so many powerful cards like file seizing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That they just like punish your opponent really hard for being in deadlock. If Titans ever became relevant, like every amount of deadlock hit just becomes super good, and the Titans would have to be better. Like most of the Titans are barely playable.
Yeah.
That's why I think 10. 10 would have been the number I would have used. But
I
maybe they
think
did
even
10.
even
Well,
at
I thought
9,
10
so
was-
hold on. Well, I'm thinking. So You say most of the Titans are barely playable, but the ones that were
Got
too
banned.
strong. So imagine they had to build to 11 instead. Are they still too strong?
No, they're nerfed into the
Reiner
ground
2
and they're unplayable. We just
if
talked
Reiner-
about this.
If Reiner 2 pre-errata has to build to 11 instead of 9,
If
Is
Bertolt
he-
2 pre-errata had to always build to 11. If
But he gets
Reiner
to keep the
1 had
damage.
to build to 11 and get to do all the things he originally did.
sorry, yeah, I said Reiner 2. I meant Reiner 1.
Yeah.
Like if these characters that were too good and had to be nerfed, say Bertolt gets to keep his -2 damage on his front side, but then it's 11 on the back side.
No, because Bertolt 2 literally can kill people on the front side without ever flipping. That was the
Yes,
whole
which is what I was just saying. That's why I
Sure.
was like, that's why.
Yeah,
they took
he
the other
doesn't get to be
piece.
strong on the front side. They get to be average on the front side, and then they get to be really good when they turn into
Yeah, get to
Titans.
be
They need to be
fine,
like
typically.
game ending when they turn on the backside. Especially if you're making them like deadlock characters, because like even though they've tried to slow the game down and said, hey, we don't want like turn 2 kills or whatever, there are still several decks that like turn 3, turn 4 put so much pressure on you. And I feel like you have to be able to win in a turn 3 or 4. Otherwise, you have to be playing these really long control lists that like you get guaranteed damage in throughout. Otherwise, you're
Or
not
a
winning.
secondary win condition.
Yeah, or you have a secondary win condition, which is crazy. I think the Titans already, like I said, they're not that good. And like, yeah, Reiner 1 was
Shout
like,
out to Ymir, who's pretty good though.
yeah,
Agreed.
Ymir is very
Bertolt
good.
1 still good. Like,
Bertolt 1
still good.
still good.
Reiner
like, I
1
think the
still
only
really cool.
actually
but not
unplayable
broken.
Titan was like what Annie was like one of the only like, especially from set 1. Set 1 had
For
its
like transfer.
I mean,
problematic
there's original
characters.
Reiner from set 1 was the obviously broken one because they changed him.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm
but I
talking
think
about
his
like
problem,
ones that
his
are
big
just
problem was like he was like he got a whole bunch of extra value for like doing nothing.
Yeah,
well, the problem was he
flipped,
got that
really
value
said,
on
"Hey,
turn
man."
2 or turn 3 because he only had to
Yeah.
build a 9. But if you build 11, it's not as bad.
I still think it's pretty bad,
But we're not part of the design team for obvious reasons.
for very obvious reasons.
It's because Jake has bad takes. But like,
I know.
That's-
Whoa!
That's part
James
of it.
is out attacking me today.
Oh,
That's
God.
Hey,
fine.
he's the
I
captain.
can
He
do what
can
I
do
want.
what he
Who's
wants.
gonna stop me? Who's gonna stop me?
He's the
You know what?
captain.
Captain, no.
I agree with the captain.
You
this
have to
particular
agree with the
instance.
captain. It's in your contract.
That's not true.
But that's the thing is like I feel like most characters, if you make them like build out, they become less playable because like Bertolt 1 still playable. Where was it at this event? It wasn't. Bertolt 2 just got kneecapped because his front side was too good. Like he was too good on his front side and his back side. Like
Yes.
he was really good on his front side and then unreasonably good on his back side.
Yeah.
Like which is fine if you have to go to 11 for like I'm gonna win the game condition because he is just gonna sling like 15 attacks at you. Can you block 15 cards? I didn't think so. But you don't even have to get there because getting to plus or minus damage on the front side and just cycle through and always have the cards you need is really, really strong.
Agreed.
I just think that most characters, like I think if you took Reiner 1 and left him as he was at launch and made him 11, he's still too strong. I think he still has to have the change. I think 9 is a good comfort spot because you kind of have to build on death to get the turbo build.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have a lot of speed options and a lot of like you don't have a bunch of options for that unless you have chaos as your side.
Yeah.
Because then that's where you get some of the speed stuff where you get the momentum so you can play like vertical maneuvering and stuff like that.
For sure. I was gonna say in Reiner's case, I agree, but the reason I agree is because he gets to leave deadlock.
Yeah.
True.
Like he builds himself to 11 and he goes, "Hey man, you get 2 enhances. You better have deadlock in them because I'm going to flip and then I'm going to destroy a foundation and leave deadlock."
Yeah, and he also debuilds his opponent on his opponent's turn on no fix, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying, right? If he was unfixed, he goes, "I'm leaving deadlock and you're never getting to 10." Like you're never going to be up again.
Yeah. Like that's the big thing with that. And like, yeah, Annie, I don't think anyone's played Annie. Aaron has been like, in and out. I think he's still good. I think with all the rotating stuff, we'll have to see what comes out in Heroes. Cause like I was thinking about that the other day when I played New Aaron. And like, I still think there's some sauce with Aaron from AOT1, but
Sure.
I think overall, like the perception of the Titans is like, even when they flip, they're not that good, and having to go to like turn 4 or 5 to flip makes them borderline unplayable.
I feel like this is an agree to disagree section.
And
Yeah.
with that, we're gonna move to the next card.
Sure. One closing thoughts on Bertolt 2. Good riddance. I don't want to see you around here ever again.
Guesses on which AOT3 character is going to have card pool clearing with extra draw?
Yeah.
They did it in 1 and 2. We gotta keep the train going. Like,
It's
Yeah, they
going to
already
be Armin.
Well, no. So this is the Kirishima effect, right? So Kiri 1 and 2 got changed. So now our Kiri 3, and by proxy, our Bert 3 has to be wildly different.
Well, Bert's not in AOT3. Bert's not the Colossus Titan anymore.
True.
Probably. I don't know where we're
Spoilers.
going to be at in the story.
Yeah,
but-
spoilers. Go watch AOT.
Spoilers,
go watch
do
AOT.
not go watch AOT.
Moving on.
Wait, I have final thoughts on
Okay,
Bertolt.
sorry. Yeah, you haven't said anything.
Oh yeah, you
Yeah.
have said literal nothing.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, you guys were just fighting the whole time, so I was just listening.
You're right.
Mom and Dad
bickering.
and Uncle were fighting.
Yeah.
So
We were bickering.
Eating my
We're
popcorn.
not bickering. We're discussing card design.
go.
They're
go ahead, sir.
passionate. They didn't have to do them like that. That's it.
That's fair.
Damn.
They, I mean,
I
they
do
like
think
really
it's a little
just,
strong.
yeah, they just really were like, get the fuck out of here, man. Like, get out of here. Like, it's just, it was
Yeah.
intense. Like,
All right,
he sucks now. That's my final thought.
Yeah, that's true. I
Okay.
think that's true.
The next card that we have is Disarming Glance. This is the Midnight Foundation from Girl Power. The errata text now says, after an attack is played, players cannot play abilities that add cards to their hand during this attack, where previously it said until after the attack resolves. This card, I did not think much about this. I was very confused when I saw this on the list of cards to be errata, but then I managed to hear the interactions with dropping attacks. Since when you drop an attack, that dropped attack technically doesn't resolve. So therefore, this lingering effect of not being able to add cards to your hand due to effects lingers for the whole turn.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason that they added this change was because the 3 symbols that Disarming Glance has, Chaos, Death, and Void, already have like a good amount of answers for things, and don't really need another like 1 card answer to just say, hey, don't play your turn. I would like to have my turn so I can kill you.
Yeah. Shout out again to Tam, who basically talked about that slightly before, and I was like, yeah, that totally makes sense. When he brought up the symbol portion, I was like, oh yeah, definitely. Like,
Yep.
he was sad that the ability was getting removed to this attack, but at the same time, he's like, this is probably the reasoning, and I agree
Mhm.
with that. Yeah,
I
I
assumed-
feel like something like this probably should exist. We're just like, hey man, stop your turn, and we have cards like that. I just don't think this card was ever intended to be a card that said, hey, it's my turn now, please.
Yeah, I just assumed it was like a clarity thing, like they did with Fateful Decision and Soul Leveling deck. I just assumed it was some like clarification, but then I kept reading it. I was like, but I think it makes sense the old way, so I don't get it. And then Tam mentioned it, and I was like, oh, that makes a lot more sense actually. Okay, this errata is fine, I guess.
Yeah, and I don't know. I guess maybe it's just because these characters on these symbols are stronger now than they were. But like Tam said, this combo's been around since St. Louis, since Girl Power dropped. So like, why now? Why wasn't it a problem before? I guess it just maybe
They just
I
didn't
don't know.
realize it till now.
it got
Was it-
it was used in the top deck. Like Ben Lambright used it in tops on stream.
Was
like,
it used in
to
that way
Tam.
though?
mhm.
Yes, he did it to Tam.
Oh. Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a character that's coming out where they're like, this is gonna break them.
I don't think it's a character, but I bet there's another card that also basically aborts the attack.
Yeah.
And then they realized, man, we have so many of these that can touch these symbols, and it's unfair. Also, the fact that because it says cannot play abilities, it does not say non-character abilities.
Yeah.
So like it just straight up can cancel some characters and say, hey man, your ability also says you draw a card or add a card to your hand. You can't do that.
Yep.
I flip a foundation and say your character is blank this turn. And so I think that was part of the idea too.
Yeah. So
you have to
instead
have
of
you have to have a second card to facilitate it, obviously. But yeah, that makes sense.
and also it changes it to with it saying during this attack, it is no longer you can't do that for this turn. Now it's just okay, well, not this attack. If you have more attacks,
Fair
then play them. You got me. But this one, don't add cards with this attack specifically.
Yeah. Pretty much.
So yeah, that's Disarming Glance. So the next card we have here is Mimic, the cute little guy himself.
Just a little guy.
Just a cute little guy,
Just a
just a
little
silly
dude.
little dude. So the old words are the old words, but now for his response once per turn, it is now a response commit. So after you check an asset, you can add an attack with a check value of 3 from your discard pile to your hand. It's no longer once per turn. It is now a commit cost. Which I just see this as like it's sort of like changing Mimic's style a little bit to where it's pretty similar to me, at least, with like Asui 3, where you're wanting to sort of sculpt on your opponent's turn. Obviously, more dumbed down and restricted. But you basically, whenever you check an asset, you're going to grab an attack, but you're going to be wanting to do it on your opponent's turn. But when you do that, you do lose access to the other response, which is part of the damage negation and damage amp. So it makes it kind of awkward to use that ability. So I honestly don't really know how to feel about this change to Mimic. It probably was necessary because there was just a lot of Mimic at US Nationals. And I mean,
There's
Mimic can
at every nationals.
That's fair. And but seeing what Mimic can do, it's probably necessary. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely slows his game plan down. Like, instead of grabbing 2 attacks every turn cycle, he only gets to get 1. And he can't do it on his attack turn unless he wants to lose all of the response for his assets. So it definitely slows the character down. I don't think he's unplayable, but he's
I agree.
definitely not anywhere near as good as he was.
I agree. I don't think he's outright unplayable. I just think the way you have to play Mimic is just shifted now. Instead of it feeling like a free, I'm just going to grab an attack. Like, especially during your attack turn, when you check an asset, you just go, oh, well, I played this attack. I checked an asset. I'm just going to go ahead and grab another attack. So I'm guaranteed to sling one more attack because I just can. Lamau.
Yeah, I feel like they kind of just like slapped Mimic across the face and then they like beat Bert to death with like bats. Like that's what it feels
With
like.
Mimic. They
Yeah,
with
beat him to
Mimic.
death
With
with
Mimic.
Mimic. Yeah, I think the setup idea here is like instead of doing that like on your build turns where you're like, oh, I didn't get enough. Cool. I checked an asset while I was building a couple of cards. I'll steal an attack. Hey, I didn't have to block with it. Now I get to play it and like really try and go to town on you. But for sure slows him down a whole lot. And just kind of like James was saying, I don't think he's bad now, but I don't think you ever see him at one of these really big events because he's just not broken. But I also think part of the reason he got changed is that we seem to be going to characters that have either negative play experience in PE or characters that really break the rules of deck building. And not all of them, obviously. We haven't touched people like Ultra Taguro with like its combo list. Now, I think that might just be because they're like, if it happens at Worlds, it doesn't matter because it's the last time it can happen.
Yeah, because the sports festival champ, it's going to be rotating.
It
Yeah, I
rotates
mean
out and in.
they just
But
one of the big cards in that list being twisting because it
yeah,
is
they
one
already
of the
hit
big things
that. It's still
that
doable,
facilitated it.
but it's not the same.
Right.
But yeah, like so I think we're just kind of going after some of these. Hey, we made this character that says, hey, you know all the rules about how you make characters? This guy doesn't follow those at all, actually. And he's wildly good. So actually, maybe you shouldn't make decks the way you're told to make decks for everybody else.
Moving on to, I believe this is the fourth card now. We have Knott's Flask. This one's pretty simple. It now has the unique keyword. Before it didn't have any keywords, but now the errata says it has the unique keyword. This errata is fine. I could see this getting pretty out of hand. Brian and I actually talked about this with Tarian Darrington, I believe is his name.
Yes, that is correct.
He can pretty much almost guarantee, if not always guarantee, to have 4 Knott's Flasks in games with the symbols he's on. He can easily be able to pop assets and be able to fish out the Knott's Flasks. And considering the fact that when it comes to building an asset where X can equal 0, you're guaranteeing to get Knott's Flask every single time. So I can understand this change for Knott's Flask. And again, this was another one of those changes where it was like, I mean, sure, I guess. But then after actually looking at it and then talking about it, I'm like, oh yeah, no, this makes sense. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I think this is how it should have been straight out of the box. I think it should have always had unique. It's a pretty strong asset just on its own. Having multiple of them gets out of hand pretty quickly. It seems like a lot of our really good assets have unique on them out of the box anyway. You think of Cape and Grenadier Bracers. Like, these are things that
Eden's Box.
Yeah, Eden's Box. Like, all of the really good assets, Ichigaki, like, they've all got unique on them. This one should have as well.
Yeah, because I mean, being able to just stack these and then just going, yeah, I have plus X or minus X. So I either can make this attack and a dunk attack if you can't block it, or I can make your attack not even matter at all. On top of the fact that this is on death and it does facilitate the death casino deck strategy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think with this being limited to having one out, this is a fine change. Like, this is a fine errata.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I didn't realize I wanted this until I saw it, and also until I played a Nats where I played against the Knott's Flask I think every single game, almost every single game. People with running multiple Knott's Flasks. It was like, okay, this is a little crazy.
Guilty. Yeah. The one time I got to have multiple Knott's Flasks, it did feel pretty good to just go, nah, this attack doesn't matter, or yeah, this attack's gonna kill you.
Yeah.
And then for our final card here, we have Recovery Girl. So before, whenever she took damage, she could build a foundation from her discard pile. The errata text, she can still do that, but she builds the foundation committed. I personally am in the camp that this, I could live with or without this change because she's rotating soon. So I personally don't care, but I understand the change because, we still have Worlds coming up. So, this still matters to a lot of the competitors for the Worlds that have to deal with this kind of thing. But, me personally, from my viewpoint, I'm just like, she's rotating soon, so I don't care.
I mean, how much does this even affect her game plan? Because she's only taking damage on their turn, right? Well, I guess because she can't block as well.
So
easily.
It's also, so there's a combo I've talked about that I'm sure has also been brought up many places elsewhere with the Foundation Last Second Rescue. You can, when you take damage, with Last Second Release says flip, spend a momentum. After you take damage, gain X health, where X is the amount of damage you've taken. If X is 5 or more, sacrifice this foundation. So if someone says, yeah, I'm going to hit you for 18, Recovery Girl just says, okay, I took damage. I'm going to respond with last second rescue. I'm going to gain that 18 back.
Oh my god, that's cringe.
I'm now going to respond with Recovery Girl to now build that back.
Oh, that's annoying. I hate this character. They should beat her to
So-
death with bats too.
They basically did.
Yeah, they kind of did. So like now she can't just infinitely loop that and say, hey, I have infinite health. So she could do it once, but it then comes in committed, and it doesn't have tenacious, so you can't use it again. So and there's like that's just a prime example that always comes to my head because that loop is freaking stupid.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean this matters a lot for those that are going to Worlds. Of course, I still have a bit of like a casual mindset where I just go, well, she's rotating in March. I don't really care. Like, if this update wasn't here, I would be content.
That's
But
fair.
I'm not going to Worlds, so what do I know?
I am going to the world's last chance qualifier, and I don't want to have to deal with this. So I appreciate UVS games. Thank you.
I'm not saying it's a bad change necessarily. I'm just indifferent.
Which is chill.
Yeah,
I totally get it. You're indifferent to other
for
people
this-
suffering.
Yes.
Yeah, for this, like Andrew's saying, it's rotating in a few months, but for those competing at Worlds, it makes sense. I kind of always have thought that this is how it should have been. Again, right out of the box, I think it should have always been committed, and it just kind of makes. I don't know. I just feel like that's more in line with other characters and abilities that do the same effect.
So,
I think that
to be
could
fair-
have maybe not if the response was gated in some way. If it was like after you take damage from like an unblocked attack.
Yeah,
or
because you
something.
can. Yeah, because you can still partial and then still build something. So you can only take like half the damage and then still build something. So I agree that you could probably could have just had the response be gated to where it take damage from an unblocked attack. But also when a Recovery Girl dropped, there wasn't a whole lot of.
It was basically not damage
there-
reduction.
There wasn't a lot of damage. There wasn't much damage reduction, but also just not a lot of like too many gain health options that Recovery Girl had. So this was never really an issue at the time, and I'm sure AOT was not really thought of at this point in time when
For sure.
when this came out, right? So
Yeah, because it's about to rotate, which means this would have been 3 years ago. They weren't that far ahead.
yeah,
I mean,
so,
she's been a problem for a while though, right? People just like stopped playing her for a little bit, like all the way back in KC. Like she ran that event.
I remember that. Yeah, there was so
yeah,
many.
that's fair. Yeah,
So,
Yeah,
like-
but she ran that event because people weren't playing the cards that could just kill. People weren't playing decks that just killed her. They were playing lots of decks like Eraserhead, who was not doing 30 most of the time. And then when they couldn't do 30 most of the time, she got to kill them afterwards. And like
mean,
a lot of decks that were just like, yeah, man, I'm gonna get you with 1,000 cuts, and they were just like, I don't care about 1,000 cuts because those cuts don't count.
yeah. I mean, I get what James is saying though. Like Recovery Girl has proven to be a bit of a nuisance just over time. I just think it was never really to this degree up until recently with AOT.
Oh, for sure. She's worse now than ever. But
Yeah.
I think just based on the way we have other characters and other abilities that do similar effects and things like that, I think it's just having her build it committed is just follows more along with the design space of the game, I think.
No, I agree. Like it's definitely more fair than just going, oh yes, last second rescue. I'm just gonna take 18, I'm gonna gain 18, I'm gonna get back last second rescue. Would you like to try to hit me for another 18? Of course not. It's my turn now.
I mean, without that, with that card not existing, let's say that card didn't get printed.
Yeah.
So like pretty much every set before this, her game plan was basically to take a half damage or to take the full damage if it wasn't that wild, build in, and then possibly block the one that was going to be really scary, and then
Mhm.
move on from there. And like that was not that bad. What basically happened was doing things like if she got the action that -2'd everything. So she says, "Hey, this turns over.
Yep.
Now your
ruthless
1,000 cuts
mockery.
are definitely not."
Yeah, ruthless mockery. Yeah.
Yeah, ruthless
Mhm.
mockery, or like
toughest punk. You get to build
well,
in
toughest punk
punk.
didn't exist. Well, toughest punk existed soon after,
Mm-hmm.
but like, why I say soon after, like, because from KC to now, where was she?
Yeah, I mean,
If she was really that good, no one played her again until no, she wasn't there in Yu Yu Hakusho. She wasn't
yeah, like
there in
she,
AOT1.
like
She was
she
there in
had,
Atlanta.
Yu Yu Hakusho had younger Takuro, so they had the character that could just like kill her. So there was really no.
Yeah, because he could
Yeah.
string it out, and he said, "Hey, I'm not gonna kill you with 1,000 cuts. I'm gonna kill you with like 4 or 5 good moves."
I'm gonna kill you with one giant cut. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, so I get it. Like I see both sides here. Like she has been a problem before, but she also hasn't really been much of a problem till now. Like she's been a worse problem now. But like in between, she hasn't really popped up that much. The bottom line is this change is good.
Agreed.
Thank God. Thank you. But for me, it's just like, eh. And that'll about do it for the article. There was only 5 cards, like I said, and we'll have this linked down in the description if you'd like to take a look at this article yourself, if you haven't already. And of course, they're going to be posting a follow-up the next Tuesday of this recording. So you can also just wait until that article comes out and read it there, because they'll be giving more of their thoughts on why these changes happened. This is just more of a quick, hey, we're dropping this. This is what's happening. We'll explain later. Moon's haunted, loads gun. But
Sure.
that'll about do it for today's episode. Nats was fun. Really enjoyed the U.S. Nationals. Had a lot of fun hanging out with friends, playing with chill opponents, filming some content stuff. And yeah, just overall a great time.
Yeah, I overall had a really great time too. I had a lot more fun with the content stuff than I did with the card stuff because my deck
Same.
did not perform and everybody knew what to do against Godzilla and they were all expecting Godzilla. So
Yeah, I mean, Godzilla has a very
he-
simple game plan, so
he
everyone was
did.
like, I know what to do.
He didn't get to do much of the thing that he was supposed to do.
He
But-
didn't get to throw a tantrum.
Sad
I
stomps
know.
away.
I threw the tantrum instead. But I enjoyed. I got the opportunity to like figure out what makes me happy playing this game because I had such good games against like fun people, and it was like, I mean, it sounds kind of dumb. It's like I like having fun playing this game. Like
That's not dumb.
That sounds wild.
yeah, but
Who
like
would think that in your hobbies you want to be having fun?
right, but I don't know how else to describe it. It's just like I think that's what I want to do. Like that's going to be my game plan going into these events is like not like hyper focusing so much on like picking a character that's competitive and fun, but like I mean
Just fun.
I don't put enough time into this game or enough practice into this game to ever realistically be able to like top, and that's just reality. That's fine. So it's like if I'm not trying to like top these events, why wouldn't I just play something that's fun? Like who cares if it's competitive? Like as long as it's like playable, I just want to go and have fun because it's a character I really like. And that was kind of the balance I was trying to find with Godzilla because I do like Godzilla. But I don't know. That's just what I'm going to keep in mind going into Exandria. So my bottom line is I'm playing the hooligan guy. Don't remember his name. He's just hooligan.
Molly Mock.
Molly
Molly
Mock.
Mock,
Yep, playing him. So
Hooligan.
good luck
Yeah.
to everybody else.
No, I mean, I get what you're saying, and I am very excited for a handful of the characters in Exandria. I'm just excited for the set overall, like just seeing the characters
man.
and a bit of the pieces that the characters have for their support. Like this set's looking very fun. I, however, have been trying to actually pick if next event I go to, I'm picking a character. I'm sticking with that character, and who knows if it does well enough? Maybe I just stick with that character until they rotate. Which I have started doing that, and yeah, just gonna try to not be so indecisive. Is my goal.
That's a good goal.
It's a
I
good.
would think
Yeah,
so.
is this your New Year's resolution? 1 month late.
Yeah, I'm pretty slow. I'm sorry.
We'll check back in a week before the event and see what's going on.
That's fair. You're saying that as a joke, but that actually is fair.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to all the new characters. Obviously, at the time of recording, Worlds is in about 2 weeks. I'm gonna be there. I think I'm the only one out of us that's gonna be there. If you're there, come say hi. If you're not there,
Be square.
say hi anyway.
Oh.
Somehow, I'm not sure how.
Carrier pigeon.
You'll figure it out. That's a you problem to solve, not a me problem.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of fun. I would like to thank the TOing, like Sean and the judge staff. They did a fantastic job running the event. It ran fairly smoothly. The judges were very nice. I am very appreciative when we have good judges at an event. The vendor hall, super sick. I think it was Cryptid Gaming and Combat
Combat Power.
Power,
Combat
and
Evolved.
then
No,
and
just
then,
Combat Power.
and
Not
then,
Halo.
and then Rochester CCG,
Mhm.
stack booths, sick items, good variance between the three. Really appreciate the vendors for putting up with us walking around not buying anything.
True.
James, you made him cry. Do you hear this?
I am crying.
How could
Well, very easily.
you?
Everybody
But-
hates Purvis.
But I absolutely appreciate the event. I also big thanks to all of the UVS staff that let me interview them. Josh, Hitch, and Lenoco, big ups. Really appreciate the time they gave me. And I look forward to hopefully talking to more staff members in the future. But yeah, that's it for me.
I think we all had a great time. I mean, pretty much just echoing what everybody said. Thanks everybody that's talked to us, gave us the time, gave us your time. Been a lot of fun. Looking forward to continuing to do it at the following events.
Wait, I remembered something that wasn't a great time. All 5 of us rode in my car. I have a Hyundai Accent hatchback back to where we live, 4 hours away. And we all sat in the back and we were crammed in there and we were drowning in plushies because we went to round 1 and we got a bunch of plushies. That was not a good time.
It was
Whoa,
mildly
whoa, whoa,
uncomfortable.
but
It
we
was
did have-
possibly the worst part of Nats.
Yeah.
It was probably the
Actually,
worst.
100% was the worst
I
part.
mean,
of Nats.
honestly, I was vibing in the
going
back.
home.
I was vibing in the back, just cooking up a list. So I
True,
was
yeah.
chill. I was
Yeah.
chill.
James, was your seating an issue?
No, mine was great. I don't know what
Yeah,
they're talking about.
mine was
weird.
fine. I think we even had police rave.
We did.
We did have a
Sorry.
police rave.
So it's pretty sick in the front seats. I don't know what you're complaining
Yeah, I'm
about.
glad you guys had a great time in the front seat. I was literally drowning under plushies. I distinctly remember James turning around and saying, "Is that okay?" And there's just plushies up to my head, and I was like, "No,
No.
that's the
All
change."
right, well, we're going.
Be worse at those games.
Yeah. So this is your fault, James.
And well, with that is going to do it for the Response on Play podcast. I'm Andrew. Who wants milk?
This has been Steph. Put Shadow the Hedgehog in the game.
This has been Jake. James, please stop. I'm sensitive.
This is Brian. No more milk for me, please.
And this is James. I may be the captain now, but I'm still just the other guy.
You will always just be the other guy, James.
Yeah, now you're just the other guy with authority.
Yeah, f- you, Jake.